Right now, as you're watching this, a silent, invisible war is being fought every single second of every day. The soldiers, they aren't human. They're artificial intelligences. And what's at stake? Well, just about everything. Our entire digital civilization.
And now, this isn't some far-off science fiction plot. It's a real autonomous arms race happening in the milliseconds between your clicks. It's a battle between AI agents for control over our data, our infrastructure, our daily lives. So in this explainer, we're going to go behind the curtain to meet these combatants, map out the battlefield, and uncover the one critical flaw that could bring the whole thing crashing down.
So, what changed? How did we get here? Well, the game-changing technology at the very heart of this conflict is something called agentic AI. And trust me, this is a massive leap beyond the simple chatbots we've all gotten used to.
Okay, so the critical shift here is from reactive to proactive. Your average AI, it just sits there waiting for a prompt. But an agentic AI, it's an autonomous entity. It can actually perceive its environment, it can reason about what to do next, and then it acts on its own to achieve a goal. So forget thinking of it like a simple calculator. This is more like a digital field command. And this isn't some niche research project tucked away in a lab. The demand for these autonomous agents is absolutely exploding. We're talking about a market projected to hit over $52 billion by 2030. This tech is moving from theory to global practice at an incredible speed, and it's fueling the rapid escalation of this invisible war. So let's step onto the battlefield. Here, we meet the two sides of this war. The Guardian AIs, which are built to protect our systems, and the attack AIs, designed to breach them. We need these autonomous defenders for one very simple reason. The speed and complexity of digital attacks have just completely surpassed what any human could possibly handle. And these threats are becoming unbelievably sophisticated. Take a recent vulnerability called React to Shell. This thing is a critical flaw that lets an attacker remotely run their own code on an AI application. And get this, no password required. It is literally the digital equivalent of finding the master key to the entire fortress. A true watershed moment in security. So how do the Guardian AIs even fight back against that? Well, they aren't just passive firewalls sitting there. They are active, autonomous hunters. They are constantly patrolling the digital walls, looking for threats, learning from every single attempted attack, and this is the most important part. They reconfigure the system's defenses in real time to neutralize a threat the very moment it appears. So how does an agent actually think? It all runs on a continuous loop. First, it perceives. It sees a suspicious login attempt from an unusual country. Then, it reasons and plans. It decides this is a high-risk event, and its goal is to protect that account. And finally, it acts. It blocks the login, locks the account, and sends a security alert. Now, imagine that simple loop running millions of times a second. That is the engine of autonomous defense. But here's the dramatic turn. Our greatest defense, this proactive, intelligent agent, has a critical, almost philosophical vulnerability, a ghost in the machine that a really clever attacker can exploit. Okay, so here's the core of the problem. An AI doesn't understand reality. It only understands a model of reality. And just like a gamer can find a weird glitch in a video game to get infinite lives, an attack AI can find a glitch in the Guardian's world model. It doesn't have to break the rules. It just manipulates the Guardian's understanding of the rules to completely fool it. This is a massive shift in cyber warfare. Old school hacking was all about brute force, just smashing the lock. These new attacks are all about deception. It's about convincing the AI guard that you actually belong inside. You're not breaking the rules of the system, you're manipulating its perception so it applies the rules in your favor. This is what's known as an adversarial attack. By feeding the Guardian AI carefully crafted, misleading data over time, a technique that's also called data poisoning, an attacker can slowly teach it that a real threat is actually harmless. They can turn our greatest shield into our greatest liability, basically creating a giant blind spot that they can then exploit whenever they want. So, if our AI guardians can be so cleverly tricked, what's our move? Well, the solution isn't just to build a smarter AI. It actually requires a fundamental shift in the human role, from being operators down in the trenches to becoming the architects and commanders of these digital armies. The key concept here is something called meaningful human control. Now, this isn't about a person having to approve every single tiny action an AI takes. That would be impossible at the speed of this conflict. Instead, it's about us, the humans, establishing the strategic frameworks, the ethical rules of engagement, and the risk mitigation policies that these AI agents have to follow. Basically, we set the mission, the AI executes it. So what does human command look like in practice? Well, it means we define the rules of engagement. We set clear ethical boundaries and safety protocols before the AI is ever deployed. It means we have to act as the auditors, constantly stress testing our own defenses for hidden flaws. And above all, it means we establish clear lines of accountability. Because no matter how fast the machine fights, a human is always ultimately in command. We are the final backstop.
Which brings us to the final critical question. As this invisible war keeps accelerating, fought in microseconds by autonomous agents, the challenge for us is no longer about reaction time. It's about foresight, it's about wisdom, and it's about judgment. So in a war that's fought at the speed of thought, our role is to be the strategists that guide the machine.